Stop using the default settings. Seriously, because if you open Gemini 3.0 and just start typing, you're paying a hidden tax, which is 10 hours per week of your time. You're getting very generic answers, you're rewriting robotic emails, and you're manually copying and pasting data between tabs. When I first started using Gemini, I thought it was just okay until I dug into the backend and found 6 hidden settings that Google turns off by default. And these aren't just tips, but significant changes that turn Gemini from a basic chatbot into a chief of staff that knows your business, protects your privacy, and automates your busy work. I'm going to show you exactly where they are, which ones are free, and how to set them up in the next couple of minutes, so let's begin. The first switch you need to flip on is the most important for decision making, because by default, Gemini runs in fast mode, which is designed to make you happy quickly by guessing and prioritizing speed over logic. But if you're using this for business strategy, that's kind of dangerous. You need to force the AI to pause, so go to the top of the interface, click on the model dropdown, and select Thinking, which is available on the paid plan and 100% worth it. Because while standard mode tries to predict the next word, thinking mode tries to solve the problem by sketching out a chain of thought before it writes a single letter back to you. So here's the difference in the real world. Most people ask, write a project plan for a product launch, and they get back a generic list. But watch this. When I give thinking mode a disaster scenario saying, I have a product launch in 14 days, my lead developer just quit, and the budget was cut by 20%. Re-architect the schedule to hit the deadline without burning out the remaining team. Give it 10 seconds or so, and look at the gray text appearing before the answer, which is the AI debating with itself, calculating the critical path and weighing on the budget cuts against the timeline. Look at the result, because it doesn't just give me a list, it gives me a whole strategy telling me which features to cut and where to reallocate the remaining budget. This proves it isn't guessing anymore, but actually reasoning. If you're a consultant or a project manager, you cannot afford to use the fast model, so start using thinking mode for strategy and fast mode for recipes. But logic is only half the battle because AI still doesn't know who you are. This is the biggest friction point for new users, known as the cold start. Because every time you start a new chat, Gemini doesn't remember who you are or what you do. It doesn't know that you run a marketing agency or hate corporate jargon, so you spend the first 3 prompts training over and over again. Stop doing that, because we're going to inject a system prompt that runs silently in the background of every single conversation by going into settings, clicking instructions for Gemini, and using the blank text box to define your digital twin. Do not write, I am a business owner, because that's too vague. Instead, copy and paste the template, such as, I run a boutique consulting firm for fintech startups. My tone is direct, concise, and professional, but never stiff. I hate adjectives like game-changing or revolutionary. So when I ask for an email draft, format for high net worth clients, and when I ask for a strategy, use bullet points and prioritize ROI. Hit save. Now watch what happens when you ask a simple question like, draft a follow-up email to a client who ghosted us. Because I didn't have to tell it to be professional or edit out the fluff. It nails the tone on the first try and it sounds exactly like I want it to. This is available in the free plan, so set it up once and it's going to save you 15 minutes of editing every single day for the rest of your life. But right now, your Gemini is still trapped in the box because it can't see your actual work. This is where we break the silo, because most people still work with a tab open for Gmail, a tab open for Drive, and a tab open for Gemini, copying text back and forth, which is amateur hour. We need to bridge the gap. So go to Settings, click on Extensions, find Google Workspace and toggle it on to grant Gemini read access to your emails, calendars, and files, turning your messy Google Drive into a structured database that you can query with natural language. Let's run a client recon mission. Assuming you have a call with client X in 10 minutes and don't have enough time to dig through your folders. So I'm going to type @Gmail, find the last 5 emails from client X. Cross-reference them with the Q3 proposal in @My Drive and summarize the outstanding action items and tell me exactly what they're waiting on. Now look at that. because it didn't just search for keywords, it read the emails, opened the documents, and connected the dots, and then created a briefing document. You just replaced an entire junior analyst with a toggle that works on the free plan. But now that you have it connected to your data, you still have to manually ask for it. So let's automate that. This next feature effectively puts Gemini on a payroll because you have repetitive tasks you do every morning, like checking the news, compare the pricing, or server logs, which burns mental energy before you've even had your coffee. With Gemini 3.0, you can schedule prompts to run automatically without code or Zapier. So here's the workflow for a daily market intelligence briefing where I don't want to visit TechCrunch or Forbes and get distracted by ads. I'll type this prompt. Every morning at 8 a.m., scan the top technology news sources for updates on generative AI and send me a summary email with the top 3 stories and why they matter to my agency. Hit enter and Gemini confirms the schedule. So now I don't check the news because the news comes to me. Use this for everything like send me a weekly summary of my Google Calendar meetings on Sunday night, or send me a monthly summary of spending from my receipts folder in Drive, because this is the difference between using AI as a tool and using it as a system that works while you sleep. But sometimes a summary isn't enough and you need deep, heavy lifting. There is a massive difference between search and research, because search gives you a list of links you've had to click and read, while research is the act of reading and synthesizing, and until now, you've had to do that reading, but not anymore. Click on the tools icon near the input bar and select Deep Research to transform Gemini from a chatbot into an autonomous agent that doesn't just look at the first page of Google, but crawls, reads PDFs, and compares data. So let's do a competitor audit that used to take me over 4 hours by entering this command. Identify my top 3 local competitors in the digital marketing space, analyze their pricing page, read their negative reviews on Trustpilot from the last 90 days to find their weaknesses, create a comparison table, and suggest 3 ways I can undercut them. Hit go, and you will see the interface change as it builds a research plan just for you. Once it's done with the plan, you need to approve it. And then take your hands off the keyboard, as it's going to take a couple minutes. It starts to browse dozens of sites in the background and filters out all the marketing fluff. You get 5 of these reports per month on the free plan and unlimited on paid. So if you're charging clients for this strategy, this feature alone pays for the subscription. But there is one risk we haven't talked about, which is privacy. This is the setting that keeps you from getting fired, because by default, Google would save your chats and use them to train the model, which is fine for writing blog posts, but not fine for financial data, employee salaries, or legal disputes. If you're pasting an NDA or a client's tax return into a standard chat, you're taking a massive risk. So you need temporary chat, found at the top right of your history bar or under the activities control. So toggle on temporary chat until the interface turns dark or gives a visual indicator. When this is on, nothing is saved and nothing is used for training. So I can paste a spreadsheet of employee bonuses and ask it to analyze a confidential legal threat or draft a sensitive email about firing an employee by pasting the data and giving it the instructions to do. Now, when I close the tab, the data is incinerated, gone completely, and it doesn't exist in my history nor on Google's training servers. If you use AI for business, this toggle should be on for everything that is private. You don't want to be the person who leaks your company's IPs because you forgot to check a box. So you've optimized the infrastructure, having logic with thinking mode, context with instructions, data access with workspace, automation with schedules, analysis with deep research, and security with temporary chat. You now have the settings, but they are useless if you don't know how to use them, how to connect them, because the real leverage comes when you stop using chat interfaces and start building autonomous pipelines. If you want to stop working manually and start engineering your time, then hit the subscribe button right now so you don't miss out on my NAM builds that I have coming up. Then click this video right here, which is my complete NAM beginner series, where I walk you through exactly how to start automating your first workflow from scratch. And I'll see you over there.